Good evening. This is the Toge Horseman signing in with another OnSwitch beta test, this time via Crashlytics. As you can see here, the build that we're testing today is version 1.1.22, parenthesis 1.1.22.7. So a lot of numbers, but the point here is that we are testing OnSwitch, the latest build, and I'm using the GoPro Hero4 Black, this time in 720 superview, going for a wide angle, and hopefully this is going to catch most of the bulbs in the front, or rather the rear of my living room. On the left side there should be a curtain where you can see a light strip behind it. Towards the front door we have a single standard bulb. Straight ahead we have a Golden Gate Bridge flanked by 6 standard bulbs. On the table we have 3 blooms, and then off to the right we have the kitchen where I have light strips installed under each of the cabinets. 2 that should be visible, and maybe you can see a couple more bulbs off to the right. On the right there's also a kind of like a kitchen bar with a light strip underneath it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bulbs visible, perhaps more. So here we go. It's on just a standard scene through the Native Hue app right now. I'm going to go into OnSwitch and switch it to the living room scene, which should capture everything, and I'm going to hit off and just see what happens. So pretty much everything is off. There's one that didn't go off, and it's actually a newer light strip that I have in my hallway off to the right. Might not be able to see it, but we're gonna go and just basically cycle through the everyday and some of the other ones. So here we are, going to standard, 1, 2, 3, standard. So everything came on. Not sure if it's visible, but you can see on the table, front and center, we have one bloom that didn't quite go as orange as the other, so it's a pretty obvious difference there. Also, not sure if it's visible, but on the right side in the kitchen, there's a couple of the strips underneath the cabinets that stayed white, while the strip underneath the kitchen bar went orange. So not entirely uniform as far as what the Friends of Hue bulbs are doing. So we'll go off and then try it again. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, off. So everything went off, and 1, 2, 3, standard. Pretty much the same drill here. All the ones that were not orangey are still not orangey. So this time we'll go off and then switch to antique. So here we go with antique, 1, 2, 3, click. So this time it looks like everything is uniform. The Friends of Hue are a little bit more orange than the standard bulbs. Not the end of the world, but it might be visible in the frame. It looks like the left bloom on the table with the succulent in front of it is a little less orange, so it's not exactly uniform, but it's close. So I'm going to switch off and then turn on skylight. So that's off. Everything's off, and let's go skylight. So skylight, interestingly, it's taking a little more time, but it looks like a couple of the blooms stayed orange. The lowest on the table, not sure if you can see it behind the couch, and the leftmost one are noticeably more orange than the other ones. And I like skylight because it's kind of a whiter color temperature, at least on the standard bulbs. And the other bulbs, I'm not sure if you can see it underneath the kitchen cabinets, are kind of like a nice warm color. Not exactly matching, but I like it. So I'm going to switch over to nightlight. And switching to nightlight, it looks like, the standard bulbs are dimmed, looking pretty good, pretty uniform on all of the Friends of Hue, and that one seemed to snap in pretty much perfectly, as good as you could ask. So I'm going to try out some of the other ones here. We're going to go to just the color ones, just to kind of demo the straight colors. We'll go red, and 1, 2, 3, red. So it kind of got brighter initially and then switched to red, but this is just like hell on earth in here now. It's just super red. We'll switch it over to blue. And that is blue. Super blue. My eyes are so shocked from the color change that it's hard to see the differences, but there's a little more purple to the standard bulbs and a little more blue to the Friends of Hue. So I'm going to switch it over to the home theater. This is one of my favorite ones because it's just a dim white, the color accurate light, but they don't always all catch. So here we go with color accurate light. 1, 2, 3, click. And there's typically kind of a slow transition, I guess for the mood effect. Standard bulbs seem to have done pretty well. Not sure what the Friends of Hue are doing. It looks like we had about 3 of them, maybe 4 Friends of Hue that stayed blue for whatever reason. So I'll hit it again, again color accurate light, just to see if it'll grab those other ones. So I've hit it again and really no change. All the other bulbs stayed the same, but the blues are still blue. So I'm going to turn it off and see if I can get it to work again. So now that's all off, and we're going to go color accurate. 3, 2, 1, click. So here you can see on the table, it looks like one of the blooms on the right side is went from orange to kind of a dull, warm white light, but the one on the left stayed blue, and also the bar counter thing stayed blue, as well as the light strip on the curtain off to the way left. Not sure if that's visible. So not perfect here. We're seeing this blue color kind of lingering even with a couple offs and back-ons. So let's go to intermission. So intermission, kind of a cool effect, went from pink to kind of a dull, like theater orange-red, and everything is orange-red without an issue. So I'm going to switch it to some of these more sporty ones. We're going to go to Cocktail Lounge next. So this is Cocktail Lounge. We can see things they dimmed initially, and I assume we're waiting for some changes to start to take effect. But this is Cocktail Lounge. At this point, for the most part, it just seems to be a dim orange, reddish color. So I'm not sure. I thought I remembered this jumping around a little bit, but let's try it again. I'm going to go off, and then let's do Cocktail Lounge again. Click. So here we are, seeing some different colors. Turning on is not a strong suit apparently this time around. It looks like we got like maybe 20% of the bulbs on. You can see on the left side we have maybe 3 on. Oh, and slowly but surely we have some on the right side coming too. Kind of a blue and red dim effect here. Probably if I let this sit for much longer, we'd start to see some changing of the colors. Here they come. So kind of an interesting choice for them to come on so slowly, but they are different colors, and not sure if they're changing, but they are different colors. And yeah, I can see some dimming and whatnot coming on. Looks like one of the light strips just kicked on. So I like it. I'm definitely seeing some color changing on the left tree, as I call it, the little trio of bulbs. Um, so you can see they're kind of slowly changing. For whatever reason, the two blooms on the table underneath the bridge did not turn on at all. So anyway, that's Cocktail Lounge. You can kind of see it going. If I had more time, I'd probably just leave it on and fast forward it, but we're doing this in a pinch. So I'm going to turn it off and then we'll try one of the other ones. So again, we're doing clubs and lounges as the set, and then we're going to go girls, girls, girls. So I've clicked it, and this time one of the blooms kicked on, sort of a pink and purple coloring. I'm going to leave this on for a sec, just see what happens. And at this point, most of the bulbs are on. Pretty much it looks like only one of the bloom lights didn't come on. That would be the right bulb on the table. And there it is. So it might have taken 15 seconds or so to kick on, and now here we are, looking at girls, girls, girls. Definitely sort of a pastel color theme, cycling through different variants of that. So I think we get the point here. I'm going to switch it over to Jazz Club. I'm going to go off again. For some reason I like turning it off first. And then we'll go Jazz Club in 3, 2, 1, click. So here comes the Jazz Club. Just going to let this one run for a sec. It's kind of cool with the three light posts that I have. They do a little blending of colors. I have them aimed straight at a white wall, so it does a pretty good job taking the color on. And we'll just let it run for a minute just to kind of see. Looks like the left bloom on the table didn't quite catch, at least not yet, but we'll see what happens. Alright, I'm getting a little antsy, but pretty much this looks like a warm color temperature. We got oranges, kind of yellows, maybe red or light red pinks cycling through. Looks pretty cool. So I'm going to switch it over. This time I'm going to do what we're calling the color flows. I'm going to do the fast single color. Click. So this is fast single color. And again, on a scene like this, we start to see the differences between the color spectrums of the Friends of Hue and the standard bulbs. Not a huge issue when you grow to acclimate to it, but anytime there's a green, really the standard bulbs can't do green too well. But I like a scene like this. There was once a time when I used the Hue Disco app, and they have a mood light that pretty much does a similar effect to this. And this is nice because it's pretty much the entire room changing. What you can't see in the frame are behind the camera. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 standards and another bloom and another strip. So you know, that's probably where some of the rear light stage is coming from, but you kind of get the point. It's doing a pretty good job just casually changing colors. Probably not worth demonstrating the slow single color, only because it'll just be the same thing. So I'm going to go to fast color pulse. First we'll turn it off. And then this is fast color pulse. Clicking in 3, 2, 1, go. Just to acknowledge, I really do enjoy the new layout of the app on these color flows. It just is a cleaner, sort of nice looking wheel of color on each of them, and it's just aesthetically more pleasant. So David, good job. So we're looking at a fast color pulse right now, and it's not exactly living up to the name. Sometimes when you have this many bulbs in a room, they're not all just going to be strobing at once. They kind of cycle through. So it's happening, but it's not as dramatic as if like all bulbs were just strobing different colors rapidly, as the name would imply. But it's happening. You can see all different colors. Trying to make note if any of the lights didn't catch, but I think the video will show if they didn't. It might. Oh no, looks like pretty much all of them are doing their thing. It's nice, but it's a little jarring, just because like they're not all really going. I guess if you want to induce a seizure, then you should induce a seizure. This one is just kind of, it's almost like a lazy fast color pulse. Like there's just not a lot of action happening. I guess feedback-wise, the fast single color was a little more pleasing because it seemed like everything was happening. So let's turn it off for a sec and decide what's next. In terms of, maybe going to the fire one. Let's get a sense of what the fireworks looks like. So that's fireworks on, and we'll see what happens. It almost seems like there's a little more action here compared to the previous one, which I guess the names by definition would sort of imply a similar expectation, but it is what it is. Not a huge fan of this. I'm not sure what's going on, and there's kind of a lot of colors, dims, brights.